Hey guys. Alright. Trying to look more awake than what I am. Is it working? Pause that. Okay. So, I want to get into the next chapter. It's on eggs. Gotta love that. I absolutely love farm fresh eggs. I was trying to decide a minute ago whether or not I was gonna split this up into separate videos or just might do a couple videos out of it. So we'll get going here. Chapter 18, Eggs. Love at First Crack. Chickens are supposedly the gateway drug to homesteading, but I would argue it is the fresh eggs that really get people hooked. I'm game for that one, yeah. Fresh from your chicken eggs for me were a revelation. Some of my fellow homesteaders can trace their beginnings to a CSA box that introduced them to fresh local produce as the beginning point. Sorry, I lost my place for a second. Others point out the first time they cooked with herbs they grew themselves. For me, I knew I was on the right track when I had the first brown, dirty-looking egg. I had to rinse it in the sink, as it had a bit of chicken poop and straw on it. It felt different immediately, chalky and rougher than store-bought eggs. I cracked it against the side of the pan like I always do, but it did not break like eggs normally do. Because the shell was thicker, it required a bit more force than I was used to, so I got shells in the pan. The egg came out visibly slower than I was used to. The white was thicker, the yolk was bigger. I looked at that egg in the pan and realized how sickly my eggs looked before. The store-bought eggs were watery in comparison. The yolks in these eggs from chickens I fed every day, were deeper in color, more orange than yellow, and they are so good. So much more flavor in them. I scrambled them, and that bright, beautiful bit of color suffused the mix. I was so fascinated by the process and the outcome, I actually made 6 more eggs that morning. I fried 2, one lightly and one well done. I boiled 2 and scrambled 2 more. I ate them all. The color and the texture and the flavor were incredible, and they make wonderful potato egg salad. That was about the time I knew my wife and I had the right idea about homesteading. Eggs are great for homesteaders. They're an excellent protein source. They provide necessary B vitamins, which are good for vegetarians, and they have a nice concentration of calories. A large egg has 80 calories, which is more than most homestead products. And since chickens are omnivores, they can consume things you might not want to, like earthworms, insects, vegetable scraps, meat scraps, etc., and turn them into amazing, delicious balls of nutrition. They come with their own storage system and keep a lot longer than you might think they would. Eggs are amazing. I had my egg wrap this morning, which I'm going to start going by my Food Meets Faith book. I'll do another video on that. I'm tired, you guys. Okay. Alright. Egg surprises. When it comes to home harvested eggs, there will be several surprises. You must remember your store-bought eggs are sold with all the quirky eggs weeded out. So you might see some eggs that are non-conformist in presentation. While we're discussing chicken eggs here, it should be noted that this information applies to just about every type of egg you might produce on your homestead. Fart eggs. Interesting title. Sometimes your chickens will produce miniature eggs. The mini eggs are called fart eggs. This may happen with birds that have just started laying eggs. After a chicken lays eggs for a while, these miniature little missteps in egg production will disappear. That happened with a couple of our chickens. Odd eggs. All over the country, the appearance of odd eggs in dumbbell shapes, heart shapes, and all manner of size used to be cause for contact in the media. During the pre- and post-World War II era, newspaper cub reporters were often given the task of photographing and writing up stories about the strangest eggs farmers brought into their offices. In rural areas of the country, it happened regularly enough that some reporters were jokingly given the title of odd egg editor. That practice has fallen by the wayside, but farmers, backyard chicken keepers, and homesteaders still get the occasional odd egg. I don't recall that. Now the colors were pretty awesome. I loved the Indian red, the dark Indian red colored eggs, and I do believe it was the East Browns that laid those. Sometimes these eggs are a sign of sickness or physical damage, but most of the time they're just weird little things that happen. If you do get an odd egg, post it on social media to amaze all your friends, but don't panic. Just keep an eye on your feathered friends for a while and look for signs of sickness, lethargy, cloudy eyes, strange behavior, etc. Bloody eggs. Sometimes there will be blood in your eggs. Several superstitions have surrounded the appearance of blood in the eggs. Some believe it was an omen for the death of a loved one, or there is the more benign belief that the chicken laying the egg was frightened. However, there's a simple explanation. Blood in the egg is usually caused by a blood vessel rupturing during egg formation. Think of it as a minor bruise. While startling in appearance, it does not make the egg inedible. If you want, eat the egg. If it is a bit too visceral, and it always was for me, just toss it. Double yolks. Sometimes eggs have a double yolk. While this happens in store-bought eggs, I've noticed this is actually more common in home-harvested eggs. Oh yeah. This usually means your chickens are well-fed and healthy. It also means you got lucky and get a little extra yolky goodness to start your day. Embryos in eggs. Rarely and only if you have roosters, you will crack an egg and find a bloody spot with veins running off it. As startling as this is, it is actually a fertilized embryo. Most eggs are not fertilized, which is why you do not need a rooster to produce eggs. But occasionally, a rooster and a hen will do what they have been designed to do, and a fertilized egg is the end result. Again, just like the appearance of blood in the eggs, this is harmless and actually edible, but feel free to toss it if it's just too much. You won't be the first person to do this. Bad eggs. Chickens like to hide eggs. In fact, you will often have one or two birds that seem to hate the idea of you getting their eggs. In my opinion, this is usually the sign of a particularly bright chicken, as it is natural behavior from birds attempting to avoid egg-stealing predators in the wild. Technically, you're also an egg-stealing predator, so it makes sense that the hen might try to avoid your prying hands. Unfortunately, sometimes this means you will not find a clutch of eggs until they go bad. And doubly unfortunately, you will sometimes accidentally crack one of those eggs into the pan one morning. It will smell like death warmed over. Just toss it out. There's not much that can be done. Clean the pan, burn some incense, and meditate in order to forget the memory of that awful, acrid smell. That's only happened one time to me. And it was out of some eggs that were given to us, and I do believe they were store-bought eggs. Safety information. Fresh eggs can be kept for about 2 weeks without refrigeration, as long as they are not washed. Cleaning eggs removes a coating that prevents oxygen from getting inside the egg, and oxygen is what makes eggs go bad. Washed eggs must be refrigerated or used immediately after washing in order to prevent spoilage. Eggs should be kept at 45 degrees Fahrenheit or colder after washing. If kept at a proper temperature, eggs can be stored in the refrigerator for up to 5 weeks. Eggs can be frozen, but not in the shell. I freeze eggs in Ziploc freezer bags. If you do freeze the eggs, whisk them lightly beforehand. According to the Egg Safety Center, eggs can be kept frozen for a year. If you have not washed your eggs before storing them, be sure to do so before using them. Fresh eggs often have poop and bacteria on them from inside the chicken coop. You can give them a soft scrubbing with a dish sponge under warm water. The whole plan is to prevent fecal contamination while cooking. Yeah, I think I will stop right there because the next part is on tips for getting eggs from other birds. So, I'll stop right there. I'll get this one uploaded, and I will see you guys in a few minutes on the next video for tips for getting eggs from other birds. See you in a minute, guys.